So this is part 2 of the Slowing It Down series. If you haven't watched part 1, I highly recommend that you do so, especially if you are in an anxious or stressed state, because that one is entirely focused on breath and slowing it down. 4 and in, 2, 3, 4 and, which should always be your go-to whenever you're feeling a little bit poo. That wasn't meant to rhyme, by the way. So in this video today, I'm going to show you lots of ideas that you can slow down. So lots of everyday activities that you can slow down. And in slowing down, you will have a positive physiological reaction or response. You'll have a positive psychological response, because pretty much everything can be slowed down, in my opinion. And even exercise. In fact, I'll chuck in a few ideas there too. And whilst with the exercise of slowing those exercises down don't necessarily work entirely on your psychology, they will work wonders for your physiology. And you could always follow it up after you've slowed down a push-up, for example. Follow it up with a quick mindful practice. And what I'm hoping for in this video is that you look at these different practices and you start to crowbar them into your day. Remind yourself every 45 minutes to an hour to do one of these things. They're short, they're deliberately short, so that you can just place them at intervals throughout the day. And believe me, if you're starting the day in a pretty poor state and you've practiced the breath, you're going to be feeling better. And then throughout the day, if you build these practices in, you keep reminding yourself to slow it down in everything you're doing. By the end of the day, I guarantee you will have achieved the things that you wanted to do and you'll feel a lot better. Now this is where I slow down my walk, and then I marry my breathing to my walking pace. So the steps of my walking become the beats for my breathing. You're probably, much like most, somebody that really plows through their food. When it's in front of you, and by the way, this is typical of most people too, and it's typical of me unless I consciously make that decision to slow it down. So this is always the tricky bit for those that are used to eating quickly, especially if they have a plate in front of them that they're really looking forward to. So you have to switch on the conscious brain and be aware of how you're moving. What's really interesting is if you do move your arm slowly, your olfactory sense, your nose, will pick up the first taste of smell. Taste of smell? Well, actually, no, that's an interesting statement, because, of course, the smell of food influences the taste. So, you just get a much better sense of the taste itself. And if you've got a variety of flavors, then you really do taste all of them. yes, even this. The benefits of that, by the way, are that you can turn a chore into a mindful activity. I highly recommend try washing up, slowing it down, becoming aware of your senses, and it turns that chore into this mindfulness exercise. This one, believe it or not, is parasympathetic. It is also quirky, and you know how I like quirky exercises. So, did you know that by extending your exhale, first of all, actually aids digestion? So not only does it calm you down, as you know already, exhaling is parasympathetic, meaning it is part of the nervous system that focuses on calm, digestion, relaxation, etc., etc. Every exhale is parasympathetic, every inhale is the opposite, sympathetic, fight, flight. Extending your exhale not only calms you down, but also aids digestion. So after that fairly big meal there, yes, I did finish the whole bowl, it is a good thing to do. Now, we're not only just going to exhale, we're going to exhale and squat. And it's very important, this one, because as you can imagine, a squat typically would be sympathetic because you're doing it in such a way that it promotes exercise. In other words, it becomes an exercise. It increases blood flow, raises your heart rate. You don't want that. This is parasympathetic. So the speed of your squat is hugely important. To further enhance this, we are also going to sigh on the way down. This is where it becomes quirky. And we're going to add a smile as well. And if you remember from one of my other videos, when you add a smile to simple practices, such as a smile, raising your head, raising your eyes to the sky, holding it there for a minute, changes your psychology. That's another one to add to the list. It won't be in this video, but if you really need a quick state changer to make you feel a little bit more positive, smile, uplift your eyes, uplift your head, look at the sky, hold it there for a minute. In a minute, you're going to be feeling better. What we're going to do is a squat, as I adopt a Johnny Wilkinson kind of pose, for those that don't know who that is, a former rugby player. And as I squat, I'm going to smile, I'm going to exhale, and I'm going to sigh, all in one flowing motion. Remember, speed is key, as in slow it down. Are you ready? Inhale as you rise. Retain the smile, and Now, when you're doing this, if you feel your heart rate is increasing, you're moving out of the parasympathetic and you're moving into sympathetic, so in which case you want to slow it down even further. And what you try and do to make it easier is keep equal amounts of inhale versus exhale. So be it 4-6 seconds on the way down, do exactly the same on the way up. Try and make it a fluid movement as well. And it won't take you long, probably even a minute, to change your state. Brilliant exercise. Something that will have great benefit when you go for a slow walk is to start tapping into your senses. As I've mentioned before on that other video I've done on slowing it down. But I highly recommend that you do that. And what I mean by that is that as you're walking, you focus on what you can see. And it helps by slowing it down. It makes it easier to tap into all of these senses that we have. And when you also marry the breath with your walking pace, everything slows, your mind slows. That prefrontal cortex, that monkey mind chit chat, slows. And when that slows, everything flows. When that slows, actually, no, that's true. Everything does start to flow because your mind almost opens up. It feels like you've expanded your capability inside. Whenever I do this, I come back with ideas. I do think that unless we, as human folk, choose to slow it down, I think in our later years we will suffer the heightened levels of negative neurochemicals, the fight-flight chemicals, cortisol, adrenaline. The only way you can slow down the production of those chemicals is through mindfulness, meditation, yoga, some martial arts, Tai Chi, and practicing slowing it down.